Popping back in. Hello. How about now? Oh, for God's sake. Really? You
Ooh,
guys
we
can
are
still hear
live.
me?
Oh, good.
We are.
I don't have us live. I've got our YouTube open and I don't see it, but hi, everybody. Welcome to the great technical issues of our day. This is
We're fig- we're
entertaining to say the least.
we're
So,
figuring it
hi,
out live.
yes, welcome to our new technical world. Um, and we're, we're working on it right now. So, we hope you all are very entertained by ourselves here. Yeah, we are. Excellent. Well, that was good. You got to see a branch of frustration in our new stuff. So I think it was said that we are going to be dropping in a new link. Is that what it was? Excellent. Yeah.
Mm.
Go figure. So,
That's all right. We'll
uh,
cut right to you.
yeah, we'll just,
Hey,
we'll
there's a
just,
camera.
hey, oh, hey,
Nope, not that one. There you go.
I got the chat room running finally too, and Carrie B, good to have you on board with us today, and I absolutely love this comment because it is very, very true of us here at Tomorrow, which is testing in production is a power move. So, yeah, and somebody's asking, is that Ryan? Is that what are you guys doing today? We'll explain it in our members only stream. So if you want to become a member, you should go to youtube.com/TMRO/join to support us and bless this mess that we are today. And just want to give everybody a big shout out. We've got Ryan on board with us today. Ryan, how we doing? All right. You look like you look like a very unhappy Cyclops from my point of view here, and YouTube's point of view. So nobody has blinded you very clearly. Then we also have Dali. So glad to have you aboard with us today.
Hello,
How's it going,
hello.
Dali?
Hello. Am I audible? Am I
Yes,
clear?
we can
Okay,
hear
good.
you.
All right, good. Clearly audible. That's the important part. Seeing me is not so
Excellent.
important in my case. Not as pretty.
All right. All right. And then also we've got Dutta here on board a station. How's it going, Dutta?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Don't we all with that there? And then I am your host, Jared, with you all here today, making the most of what we got here. And you all are telling us that you can't hear Ryan. So, Ryan, we might have to work on you a little bit. And actually, what I'm going to do with that, Dolly, why
Yes.
don't we go ahead and start with you? What is
Okay.
something that you really wanted to talk about today?
Oh gosh, that would be. I've got a couple of things. I'm all into this whole thing about the Mars sample return. I think it is a wildly important kind of thing. Well worth the money. And oh heck, the money! Oh my, the money! Extra quarter billion. Um, let's see if I can find Alan Stern here. Has a lot to say about they're pouring an extra quarter million, and Alan is saying a lot uh, about how that's really putting the pinch on everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So very much would like to hear everybody's opinions on about how the trades of making sure one thing works at the expense of delaying something else, that kind of thinking.
Yeah, I will say that if anyone is in a good place to talk about what exactly is occurring in planetary science. And in addition to that, sort of the overall political landscape and funding landscape of that. Alan Stern is very, very well set for that. Not only is he the principal investigator on NASA's New Horizons mission, which did the flyby of Pluto in 2015, he was also the associate administrator of NASA's Science Mission Directorate for a year starting in 2007. So he knows politically and the internal workings of what you need to do with the NASA mission. I got to say, if that's a good position to be able to make it. And his very strong words about the fact that things are starting to get very out of hand, and that we're going to begin to start seeing missions kind of cutting out because of that. Very, very true, ringing true with a lot of folks, and a lot of frustration in NASA's science divisions at the sort of eating away that these big flagship projects seem to have been doing for about the past decade now, and it seems to only be getting worse.
Jolly Willy. Okay. Yes. Indeed this thing with sorry, I lost my track. Please continue.
Oh yeah. Well, if you look at the most recent missions that are coming from NASA, obviously the unbelievable, near universal in size, almost 8.4 meters in size, budget overruns and timeline overruns of the Telescope Space Telescope. In addition to that, missions like Psyche, not exactly helping with their delay with that. Even something like the InSight mission, which had to be delayed, albeit because of a instrument problem with that, but it still required a very large sum of money on top of what was an already expensive mission in order to smooth that over and work that out with that there. So, overall, I wonder what it is. I personally wonder what it is. Are we missing something somewhere in terms of like the education of project management? Are we forgetting about the fact that there are these things called budgets and timelines? And I know the old joke is APL is on time, on Mars, on schedule, or on budget, on time, on Mars. Pick two.
Right. Yes.
But maybe we got to figure out a way to teach ourselves in order to actually pick all three. What does that look like? People significantly smarter than myself are most certainly going to be able to figure things like that out. I'm just one yak. I don't know how to pull that off. I only know how to scream to the void with that. So we'll have to see with that there. But
is screaming to the void effective?
I don't think so. It hasn't been very effective so far.
Okay.
No.
So far, screaming to the void has not been the effective thing. I would invite ideas on if you wanted to make change, what would be the best ways. Some people write to their Congress people. I don't know. Is that a waste of time? I'll leave that to you. Chat, tell us in the comments.
Yeah, and actually, I was going to jump right into the chat room because JTTV is saying that NASA has gotten bad with scope creep, which is very, very true. Basically, the idea as to what NASA should be doing, it's gotten the waters have become very, very muddied with that there. And overall, it's just not exactly fantastic with it there. Trying to just kind of run through with this here. And then Loopy bringing up, actually, I feel like a good point, which is that they've always been this bad. It's what killed Pluto Kuiper Express in the 1990s. And that's very, very true as well, which coincidentally, Alan Stern, continuing his work, was able to move forward and get the New Horizons mission to be born of that there. And as Eka is reminding us, which I think this is a very good point to be made here, which is that polite handwritten letters are the best when communicating to your Congress critter, because after all, we live in a world of no Bucks, no Buck Rogers. So if we really want to start talking about these things, we
Mhm.
really have to. We really have to. If we can't get the prices of these things down, then maybe we need to figure out how
I
do we convince Congress to
I have an
throw in
alternate.
the extra dollars. What do you got, Dolly?
Congress, they're a bunch of slowpokes. They weren't going to get down to it. All we got to do is fool a bunch of rich people into thinking that there's a unique mining opportunity that they can alone get to first.
Well, the critical portion of that is that, and we've often heard that as well. Just have somebody chuck $1 billion to help
Sure.
make a private rover for Mars, right? That's something that I've heard thrown around as a solution a multitude of times.
Sure.
The really great thing about NASA is that data, once it's done with its principal investigators of
Right.
whichever instrument it is, that data is immediately released and handed out to whoever wants to use it to do whatever kind of study work with it. And with private industry and commercial stuff, that's iffy. You never know if that's something that's actually going to end up like actually materializing or happening.
Completely. In terms
not
of
to say it wouldn't.
Right. In
Yeah,
terms
not
of
to say it
exploration.
wouldn't.
I keep stepping on
exploits. No, exploits.
In terms of exploration and science, I absolutely agree. We got to do this as a society because we don't want to set up an alignment where some small groups gather the unique benefit from it and keep it from the rest of us. In the long run, there are going to be commercial exploitations, and I think we do want to, in a limited way, have that. Outer Space Treaty notwithstanding, I think we do want asteroid mining. We do want companies to be able to lay a mining claim to an entire asteroid and suck up all the juicy, yummy nuggets of all of it and sell it to us. And as many companies and as many asteroids as they want. Go. Have fun.
Yeah, I actually like this idea here from Zapfan. Good to have you, Zapfan. Haven't seen you in a while in the chat room, even if you've been there. But this one's pretty cool, which is get
I saw
NASA to
them
put up a
correcting me in
prize.
math a month ago.
Yeah, put up a prize, $1 billion for 1 kilogram of sample from Mars. Private industry, go! So that would actually be a really neat way of doing it. That's almost like commercial crew, but for getting some rocks and regolith and atmosphere samples back from Mars. And I think that would actually be pretty cool. I like Bennett here. Bennett is already calling it the M prize.
The M prize. I want the M prize I want 5 of them. I want to spend $5 billion and have the first 5 fully independent, fit all of the planetary protection, and they are independent enough that they couldn't have contaminated each other. Missions that get back a kilogram. The first 5 get $1 billion. So it's not just the winner who wins. Any of them that can get in that first line, they're funded.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of sort of the Google Lunar X Prize. For those of you who are very old, so old you can remember when Spaceflight Now actually had comment sections on their articles. Back in those days, the Google Lunar X Prize was this idea that they were going to get private companies to actually land on the moon and do certain milestones and make certain cash prizes per milestone, like land within X distance of an Apollo landing site, take pictures of an Apollo landing site, drive X amount of meters, do 10 regolith samples or something. And that was it was very productive because we got things like Astrobotic and the Hakuto R mission that just came out of that, and a whole host of other very small companies that are now off and running with that there. So yeah, as Bennett Elder is saying in this, which is that OGX Prize was fun. So it really was. It was a thoroughly entertaining thing. And Arvale, I think, has a really important idea here, which is actually kind of how the Google Lunar X Prize was working, which is I'm not sure $1 billion is enough for companies to take that risk. We might need to put up the prize value or award part of it as milestones are reached. Sure. That was Google Lunar X Prize, the milestone kind of way with it there. Don't worry, Arvale, you're good on that there. So, yeah. yeah, it's an interesting concept, but I don't know if it's ready for showtime yet, just because
Mm.
of how those things operate with it there. So yeah, pretty neat. So wow, Dali, that was pretty how do we say dramatic in terms
Oh,
of
yes.
what's been going on lately with that there. And I want to talk a little bit
Yes.
about a small friend visiting, or actually, should I say, returning from a place. And let me see if I could get this to work as well as I want it to, and it does not look like it is going to do it. So allow me to do this real quick. But did you know that China has their own space plane? So
Mm.
straight up, did you know that China has their own space plane called Shenlong? And that space plane was in space for 276 days,
Mm.
and now it has finally come home. So uh, that is I'm showing a little model here, if you could see it, of the actual Shenlong. One of the designs that's thought of to be with it there. Don't know if it's coming through. Oh, there it is. And yeah, it is essentially China's answer to the United States X-37B orbital space plane that the
Hmm.
United States Space Force, formerly Air Force, now Space Force, well, actually, technically, formerly NASA, formerly Air Force, formerly Space Force, worked with. And we don't know much about
Mm.
Shenlong, honestly. We actually don't even really know if this is the real design of it. It has had images of it taken at the end of the runway where it would land at, in the middle of the desert in northwestern China. But outside of just a couple pixels of that there, this is essentially speculative as to what it would look like. But it does serve the same purpose, which is to carry experiments into space and then return them to the surface of the Earth. And like I said, uh, roughly 276 days with it there. And yeah, it very interesting, secretive, ultra secretive, double secret, if you will. Um, Even the launch of it was near secretive. It took quite an effort from observers to do it. But yes, Bennett, I like this one here, which is yay, Cold War copying space planes. Everything old is new again. Very, very true. And yeah, it's sort of a continuation of the escalation of a space race between the United States and China that's going on at the moment. So
Hmm.
just in case you were unaware. So and I find it absolutely fascinating that this is occurring right now without many people knowing about it. And what do you have there, Dali? That is
It's
a
a scale. It's
beautiful
a ruler.
ruler.
And my question is, how big is that thing
How
relative like can
big?
be, or my microphone or banana?
Oh, how big is a Shenlong?
Yeah, the Shinlong, I'm looking at it, it could be a Lego toy. It could be I could stand up inside
Oh,
it. I don't know. How big is that thing?
from what I understand, it is about the same size as the Boeing X-37,
Oh, okay.
and that
So so that middle
that is
in the top could open up, and there's a room enough for a few Kerbals and for them to connect and share the Kerbals between the X-37Bs, and we don't know anything about that. Obviously,
it's
we don't. That's completely speculation. If I knew, I couldn't tell you. Stop asking.
yeah. I was going to say it's going to be more than just a few Kerbals because the X-37B is about just about 9 meters or just about 30 feet long.
Ooh.
So big.
So
That's
3
not a
Kerbals and
small
some room to
vehicle
for
by
the
any
room for a
chance.
science lab.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
don't tell. I don't think it's a science lab that you and I think of in terms of like
Right.
science labs. It's a bit more like a testing ground. Like, will
Okay.
this system actually perform the military purpose that it's supposed to? Um, but overall, overall, they're both probably very similar in what they're actually doing. And Bennett's just like tearing it up tonight in the comment section, which is just having to look over here, which is Win Dream Chaser. So you and I both, Bennett, we both want that little snoot booping space plane to finally just fly already. But maybe this year. I can't remember when it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be towards the end of this year. Vulcan has to fly first a couple of times, which I want to say, did anybody see the paint job that they're flying on Vulcan?
I keep seeing different livery. It swoopy, big stuff. Why? Cool. Yes.
Well, because it looks cool. That's why.
Yeah.
So, because it's like,
yeah, that's weird. That seems out of character for ULA.
What do you?
I'm not
I mean,
ULA.
they've gotten.
Said they don't go for cool usually as their first goal.
Fair enough. With that, I can understand why it may sort of feel that way with it. But I mean, they're give them a break. They're trying their best.
They're trying,
right?
Hey, Tori, good on you. You've impressed me. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, ever since Tori came on, they've kind of broken the mold a little bit with some of their idea, or with what they feel like they should be doing themselves on that front. And I just brought it up here real quick to see, in case nobody's seen it yet, just how cool that Vulcan is. And I think we might have sounds like we got a Ryan back, possibly.
Cool.
But look at that.
Yeah, their logo looks like a Delta 4 getting started.
Yeah, with some of the a little bit of. Is there any Delta 4 heritage in Vulcan? I don't think there is.
No, but they can have movies just for fun.
It's just lighting itself on fire.
Guess we gotta. Yeah, it's a throwback. It's fine. It'll. I don't think so. Not with Methalox, right? They're not gonna, since it uses methane instead of hydrogen or kerosene. I don't think Methalox does the big whoosh of fire up the thing with it. And Arvale, you have to agree, this rocket's got style. So
except that once, and then Elon said, "Oh no, that was fine." No, wait, no, that wasn't.
JTTV says the flame is going the wrong way.
That's very true, JTTV. The hot bit should be going down, not up. But I'm sure that when the time comes, the hot bit will go in the correct direction. I would certainly hope so with that there. I don't know if I've actually ever seen a rendering of Vulcan without that cool paint job. So I wonder what it's actually going to end up looking like. So, because I know I've seen one where it was like an American flag paint job, and then they finally were like, okay, maybe we should actually like add flourish to it and put the American flag somewhere else on it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the Vulcan logo, the V, and the V makes a flame.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's not a flame, it's the Vulcan logo.
Yeah. So I'm just going to zoom in there for you all as we do this live.
That's
the logo.
Oh, that's nice.
And you can also check out those pixels.
Pixelated. Yeah. Nice.
So, yeah, it's got to be. So, very, very nice. Twitter's finest. All right. So, anyways, that's pretty amusing with that there. Did we have a Ryan back, or am I just hearing the audio coming from somewhere else?
I think you're probably hearing me.
With that. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're definitely good to throw that in there as well. Oh my gosh, Bennett's just working with. Oh, okay, gotcha. So Loopy, I don't know if did we throw this on the air yet. With that, which Loopy's saying that they used Common Avionics package, which was designed to fly or unify Atlas and Delta on Vulcan. Okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's more props. RVL saying the Vulcan paint job is amazing, and I do have to agree on that. It is amazing. It's beautiful. I want them to do a Delta blue on it maybe one day with it. And then RVL again saying that they did a cryo test today. Mm-hmm. And they're apparently targeting Monday for a static fire. So that's exciting. It's
Ooh.
finally working. So, yeah, holy moly, that was really, really cool. So, and Bennett is saying that they painted one like Iron Patriot. Very nicely done. Bennett just bringing it today. Very, very good. All right, Dolly, what else you got for us today?
Oh, I've noticed that recently, as I'm watching Falcon 9s come into land, the part that comes down to land, the most bit, the tall bit on the bottom, when it's
The first
coming in,
stage.
yeah, the first stage, yeah, that one, not the stage 0, that doesn't, yeah, it's the part that lands. I am now able to find the drone ship in the landing from like 20-25 kilometers up. I can see it if I look in the left grid fin. I got to see one where the drone ship was all lit up from the ground, and I saw it's on the ground moving, and I tracked it all the way through the shot, and it got lost in the left. Let's see, on your side of the screen. Okay, this is my left hand, so I'm gonna say it's my left. The left grid fin, if I look in there, it gets lost in the grid fin and then comes and emerges. I don't know if that's a new thing. I wonder if other people have been able to see that for a while and I just learned to pick it out.
I was going to say during a recent, I think it was the most recent night launch of Falcon 9, I want to say last week or something.
Yeah, it might have been.
I thought I saw a light from when it was like 10 kilometers up, and I was like, there's no way there's no way you could see the actual lights from the
I remember seeing
drone
it on
ship
night,
out there.
Night launch the first time. I'm sorry, night landing the first time, and a day landing the next time that I remember seeing it. And now I'm tracking them, and if the weather's clear, it seems like I can find them from 20 kilometers. Seriously, still way up there. Before,
wow,
well before the landing burn.
Gotcha. Well, I guess I need to start paying attention.
So look, and of course,
yeah,
I'm looking at a dot. Could I be wrong? Yes, I could be. But if I'm looking back and I track it and I land on that dot, that was good confirmation.
Well, I will certainly endeavor to take a better gander at it and pay attention during the launches a little bit more. So, yeah. So interesting
Just the
thing
landings.
to have noticed.
Speaking of the launches, those are landings. Those are the dramatic.
Yeah, that's the cool stuff. And reminding us, Eka, of course, saying it's a dot that doesn't move like the waves. So that's very, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Maybe they can have the lights on the drone ship strobe out JPL for us. 15 seconds before landing or something.
Yeah, I'm sure SpaceX will absolutely appreciate that with that there. So
they would do all sorts of things. Yeah,
they'll be thrilled to make that happen. I'm certain of it. So, and I did want to say a little bit about since you did mention Falcon 9s. Did you know that we just celebrated the 200th consecutive successful flight of a Falcon 9? Did you know that?
I heard about it. Yeah.
Although Alejandro at NASA Spaceflight did point out that it is technically 199 if you don't count the in-flight abort. But because we're on the show, this show specifically, we're going to ignore that. And I appreciate Alejandro's input, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I'm correct. And it is 200.
Throwing that nuance away and acknowledging it and then ignoring it just because we're
there's no nuance occurring here. Look at this. There's nothing nuanced about any of this that we're looking at right here. I'm bringing it up just because I recall in one of my early space pods that if you want to come back to me, Detta, it's going to you got that logo there. Look at that beautiful, roll that beautiful logo. In case you forgot who made the video there. I recall in one of my earliest space pods that I did for tomorrow called something called like Top 5 Rockets or something like that. I said that this was back in 2015, so it was the early days. And this was even before the CRS-7 kaboom, or rapid depressurization leading to FTS kaboom, whatever we want to call it. It was about the top 5 rockets, and I put the Delta II as number 1 because it was going to have 100. At that time, it had 98 consecutive flights. There were 2 more left on its manifest, and it was going to do. So that would have made 100 consecutive flights if those 2 were flown. And I said that because of that, it's the top rocket of all time because of that. Nowadays, I will argue that the Delta II is the top rocket of all time because it has a shark mouth on it at various stages during its history. But
that's quite the shift in goalpost.
Sure. But now I'm realizing that Falcon 9 has doubled the consecutive successful flights of Delta II in a significantly less amount of time that Delta II did.
Oh, yeah.
So I need to maybe rethink
my
list a little bit there. So, which I do admit, Falcon 9's awesome. Yeah. Falcon 9 is amazing, is fantastic at what it does. But ultimately, we know that the best rocket that there is in this world, JTTV knows what's up. And that is, of course, Ares 1X. So that's just been confirmed for so long, for such a time, especially as now, with it. So, as Robert is pointing out, Falcon 9 has a 99.1% reliability rating on it. That's good. So that's better than me getting in my Jeep and turning and pushing the button and it starting. Also, Bennett is also reminding us too that Ares 1X is 100% reliability.
100% so far.
Yeah, and I don't know if we've also pushed this one from Bennett as well, but talking about the Delta II footage from earlier this week made me happy, which might be some of you who follow my Twitter feed at Jared Head. I was just praising the Delta II as I will always do because Sharkmouth with it there. So, yeah, amazing, fantastic stuff with that there. So, yeah, just again, like these are things that 5 years ago I wouldn't have really considered like possible. You know, it's amazing how fast these kinds of things can change, how rapid the industry can. Dutta, you got anything to add about that at all, Dutta? Or you're speechless?
I gotta push like 16 buttons. I love Delta II.
Yay!
Yeah, I feel like I should get it tattooed on my back or something, or maybe get the shark mouth tattooed, the payload fairing on my back.
I actually do have a Delta tattoo in mind.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Wait a second. We're gonna have to talk after the show, then I guess. And then if you want to, maybe we could talk about that in the members only. Are you willing to talk about it in members only?
It's just a thought in the back of my head right now. It's nothing permanent, nothing definitive yet.
Okay, that's cool.
Another day.
Maybe we'll talk. I think we'll talk about it in the post show. So we could, which if you want to access that, the plug mid show, you could actually join us as a member on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/TMRO/join. If you join right now in the middle of the show, you can still get in, and it's literally as little as 99 cents a month in order to do that. And of course, all of your support is help. Same with helping us out in liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing this. If you know someone who would love this, share it to them. If you know someone who wouldn't like this, share it to them as well. It's a view. In addition to that, Maddie's asking, did Jami make it or not? Well, I don't know if you could notice, but no, Jami did not. So unfortunately, no Jami this week. She will eventually return. But somebody was asking, are we ever going to see Jami again? Yes, but Jami's busy as well. So and that's all I'll really say about it with it there. So
am I not even allowed to say why she's busy or what she's busy doing?
She's busy with work. So that's the way I would put it.
Right, day
So,
job. Right.
Yeah, day job. Like sometimes I have my day job,
job.
get in the way. And
Yeah.
Donna, sometimes your day job. Dolly, sometimes your day job. It all depends on what happens with us. So we all have day jobs, in case you forgot. So, but that's okay. We still love you. Anyways, Dolly, as you take a fresh drink, have you got anything else for us to discuss tonight? Do you have anything else prepped and set and ready to go?
I do remember that I wanted to call out Alan Stern, and it was kind of related to the other thing, and that's where I lost track earlier.
Okay, let's double back then.
So I just want to call out her a little hero worship and fangirling here about Alan Stern because I note that in the scientific community we speak in such careful terms, such non-violent kind of ways about any disagreements that we have, keeping it really to the idea and not the person, and modeling such amazingly good discourse, even when we're really pushing it. And I want to call out Alan for really modeling where that edge should not cross and where it should be. He did good, well thought out communications there. So
yeah, and would you look at that?
We have a Ryan.
Ryan has suddenly appeared out of nowhere. And we'll see if we can hear Ryan momentarily, because suddenly a whole bunch of magic that you shouldn't see just appeared with that there. Poor Ryan working on what you've got. But yeah, Alan or Dr. Stern is extremely passionate about his work and his basically making sure everybody gets their fair share of what they could possibly do. And it's admirable with the work that he's put in over decades. I think I hinted at it last week about the Pluto Underground that he was a part of, which started back in the mid 80s with it there. As you could roll through that, Ryan. He's been doing this for almost four decades now, and been doing it with the same level of passion since. So it's pretty great, and I'm excited to see. Anytime he talks, I get excited because he's just got that zest with it there. And Ryan, thanks for watching us. First time viewer Ryan. With us here. If any of you caught that in the back, first time viewer Ryan. Wow, so that's what it looks like. Oh no, here we go. We're going down that right there. Recursion. Oh man, recursion like a Christopher Nolan movie with that there. So yeah, so very, very close. So does that kind of wrap up your discussion there for you, Dolly?
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I brought this week, and I'll be back next week with more interesting stuff. And
yeah, that's fascinating. Working with that, and I want to talk about something a little fascinating as well, if we don't mind talking about Gyroscope, Wellscope, Space Telescope, because I know Jami Jami always loves to. I don't want to say Jami doesn't poo-poo astronomy, but Jami is always very correct in that astronomy is really difficult to talk about because it always seems so esoteric and so spoken from ivory towers. And Jami's very right in that sense too. I will say she's not wrong at all with that. But a interesting thing kind of happened thanks to Gyroscope, Wellscope, looking a little bit further back than Hubble has. Now, if you know about the abilities of Telescope Telescope, it already exceeded Hubble in the first deep field that it took. It was already kicking Hubble in the butt in terms of distance and what it was able to see. Talking galaxies all the way, forming. I think the papers are still being peer reviewed right now, but some of them are suggesting that these galaxies in that deep field are something like 300 million years old. So like 13.4 billion light years away, which is absurd to think about the furthest objects that would ever have been seen. And there was an interesting study that came out a few weeks ago, which said that after they had gone through a lot of the data that they looked at, they compared it to how the universe should be, so how we would expect things to be with the Big Bang, and it didn't appear to match up. So does that mean Webb has shown us that the Big Bang didn't actually occur, and we're thinking about the universe entirely wrong, and cats and dogs living together, absolute chaos with things? But no, turns out that was not the best way that could have been studied. There was some methodologies used in those that did not allow for the best resolution or the best parsing of the data to develop and then get compared. So when we're developing these models, we often will use very powerful computers to do supercomputer simulations. And those simulations require us to use a certain resolution. So we may say something like each part of the simulation, we're going to have a block that is 1 million cubic light years or something like that. So obviously, the smaller the blocks, the better the resolution, the longer it's going to take to crunch. So a lot of these studies that sort of threw the Big Bang into doubt were not high resolution crunching with supercomputers. It was very low res. So now that they've done the high res stuff, it's lined up exactly with what Webb actually, Wellscope actually showed us with that there. So turns out, big roundabout way of saying that Telescope Wellscope has disproven the disproving of the Big Bang. So, in other words, all of those studies that said that the Big Bang is in jeopardy, the idea of the Big Bang is in jeopardy. It doesn't match with our lambda cold models that we would expect with that there, sort of what we expect with everything. Actually, turns out we were a little wrong on that front. Somebody jumped the gun a little too much.
This isn't any good. That's reinforcing my internal Luddite.
Not necessarily. The interesting thing about science is that we don't always get it right.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
That's why we check each other's work.
So I should just be flexible and convincible and go with the wind of the data. And besides, nobody's asking me my opinion about cosmology anyhow.
Not necessarily.
You are always permitted to change your mind with the presentation of new data.
Excellent. I'll do that.
Always.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And actually, Old Gamer Noob is bringing up what it is, which is that high-resolution telescopes need high-resolution simulations. That's exactly what happened.
There you go.
The simulations were not matching the resolution that we were getting from the data of Telescope Wellscope. That is, Old Gamer Noob, I'm walking off the show because I got no more to say. That was literally
the simulation I'm looking at Orion is nowhere near as good. It doesn't convince me at all. It's way down in the uncanny valley. I want the real camera Orion.
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, the real camera Orion doesn't work.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's okay. We still love bad camera Ryan with all of our heart. Just to let you know,
this is what you get. This is. I plug it in. Says it doesn't work. This is what we get. You just have to This is just imagine this is some kind of like 6K, ultra high definition, Alexa quality.
Ooh.
Your brain's just tricking you into thinking it's an old 720p webcam because it's the only thing that will work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ryan, if I'm going to be honest, yours actually looks pretty good for some of the guests that we have had on tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be honest here about that, and then also, let's face it, we actually have your full attention, unlike some of the guests that we've had on tomorrow. So, Ryan, last but certainly not least for this week, what have you got to talk about? Because Dolly's done, I'm done. Up to you before we ask Dutta for the closing words.
I thought we were just getting spooled up here. It's not like I've just spent 50 minutes trying to get anything to work. I'm going to attempt a screen share. I don't know if this will work or not.
Well, you know what? As someone said at the start of the show,
it works! First time! Come on!
We're testing.
Nice.
We are testing in production. This is a power move. Let's see it,
so Eric the Burger himself thinks that Virgin Orbit's going to come back. That's what I've got for this week. Thanks for watching, everybody.
That's the best news I've heard all week.
Well, explain.
Ryan, based on what I'm hearing, I think Virgin Orbit is probably coming back. This is what Eric's hearing. I cannot confirm nor deny. I'm not his ears. However, if it's true, it's certainly exciting for everybody who wants them to succeed, which I'd certainly hope is everybody. And more launches out of Cornwall, because that was
I can absolutely neither confirm nor deny.
Thank you, Dutta, for not confirming nor denying. That is important. Is there any like a speculative boxes that Ryan could draw around this? Like, was there an angel investor on the horizon that was being talked about? Was there a box in which they were saying, here's what it would take for us to do this thing, and so this being possible means that something happened?
You're not asking me, are you?
Oh,
No, I'm ignoring you. Shut up. I can't hear you. Nah. Ryan,
Shut up, be quiet.
I haven't heard anything about investors and whatnot. All I know is, all I've really paid attention to after the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy is that they keep going as if everything's normal and pretend that nothing's happening, and then by tomorrow or Sunday, hopefully we'll have someone on board. So the timing is kind of, good timing for Eric to start hearing things before the deadline of the financial whatevers. I'm not a lawyer. So, yeah, that's my best guess.
Dates and big checks and contracts and signatures and things. Okay.
I haven't really had a lot of time to research it, considering I've spent the last 50 minutes trying to get a camera to turn on. So that's the best you're going to get out of me today.
Indeed. And depending on when news shows up about this, Ryan and I will be thumb wrestling over which one of us gets to talk about it first.
Depends when it comes out.
Yeah, and really, Ryan's got better thumbs than I. He gets to win if he chooses.
Ryan is a young lad, and therefore, right? That's kind of how it goes. So,
I shall not try to get in the way of his attracting the young femmes.
Yeah. And just, as Bennett is pointing out in our chat room, which I think is really important, which is that, Chapter 11 bankruptcy really is a formality. You can become a juggernaut after that, and there are companies that have done that. So it would not be the first time a major, or at least a player in aerospace has come back from the brink, if you will. Very few from after Chapter 11, but it's not unheard of. It's not impossible. It is possible, but boy, is it hard. So, but we wish everyone the best of luck, of course, because here tomorrow we absolutely are a true Scott.
Let me be absolutely clear. Even if I did know, I wouldn't tell you. but I have no idea.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
either.
You're
And
on
I'm
a
really
need to know
happy not
basis.
knowing.
I'm gonna be just as surprised as all y'all when the news comes out.
Okay. But yeah, that's yeah. Oh yeah, there was also this Aravail, which was that there was that original angel investor that was like some guy, that rich guy who nobody had ever heard of, and was caught in a series of recurring lies. Did he turn out to be legit? No, he didn't. And there were a multitude of things that, with me looking at it as someone, I don't, Dutta, you can't comment on it, but I certainly can, and I will, which is that there were several things that had been publicly stated by this person that I don't think DOD would have liked to begin with. So I don't think it would have happened anyhow. So yeah, that's all. I will just leave it right there. We could spin that wheel with honestly the multitude of things about that person.
Why did government care who's involved with rocket and weapons factories? I mean, is there some dual purpose?
I can't give a reason. So, anyways, yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see with that there. Yeah, we'll have to see it. By the way, I want to ask, did we cover what I guess we could call a miracle on orbit? Did we?
Don't ask me, I haven't been here.
But a miracle
we
in deep
didn't.
space. So.
Oh, and I had that on my list.
Dali, why don't you take it away? I'll cover the media for you, but you talk about this because it was mentioned in the chat room. And then there is one more thing I want to talk about, but I'm going to have to stall for a little bit to grab my media to make it happen.
Thank you. Juice is loose. Oh, I'm very excited. This was something we talked about last week. This is the Juice missions, the Jupiter Icy Moons Orbiter. And it got all caught up when it was trying to unfold. It got caught on a pin. So they turned it around and they baked it and they shook it and they baked it and they tried their recipe and this and it. Well, I'm hoping to see it. I haven't actually seen it, but oh yes, now it is. It has unfurled. It got past the pin. We will now be expecting to see good radar images from this on Jupiter's icy moons and learn things. Thank you, Issa. Thank you for trying. I'm so happy you succeeded. Woot! The juice is loose.
Yeah, yeah, baby. I love that.
That's right.
I finally did it. So, yeah, I'm so excited. I cannot wait for that data. Oh, right. I have to wait till the 2030s for that data. Crap. Stupid physics.
Hey, it's a lot better than the alternative, which was going to be like the 2040s, because we're going to have to do another one.
Yeah, fair enough. And what's, I think what people really forget about is the fact that, oh man, I had a thought, do you ever hate it when you just like have those thoughts and then it just like zips away from you? That's literally what just happened to me. I feel so dumb from that now. I guess I'll just go back to my first thought I had, which was that I'm so excited that we're going to have Europa Clipper and Juice there at the same time. And then I can't remember when China's fast flyby probe is supposed to be going through the area as well. But yeah, that's what a great time to be a icy moons scientist, right? Like, dang, this is a really neat time for that. So very excited.
So whatever time we'll have to
wait,
shift it.
And heck yeah.
Whatever time it does that, we'll have to shift it 3 or 4 hours for Beijing time, right? Compared to Britain, how many hours?
Oh, that's a great. That is a fantastic question.
I think they're 8 ahead of me, so 16 ahead of you.
Wow, yeah. So we're on opposite thirds. You could it's great. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just want to say that, yeah, I'm stoked. I'm so stoked I can't think. You guys see that I'm losing it at this point. Somebody else take over. It's somebody else definitely take over, because I'm grabbing media for what I want to talk about to close out the show with, and I want to
good.
make sure that this is like
Okay,
super
so you're
exciting
covering
because
for media, and I want to thank all of the members of Tomorrow for putting up with our trying all of this dog food live out today.
you rock with that. Let me tell you, that is an epic level to be at. And in closing, I would like to simply say that Slick Six, it's back, baby.
It's
So
back?
I don't think we've talked about it on the show, which is my personal favorite launch pad in this
Okay.
world, which is at Vandenberg Space Force Base. It was originally going to launch the Manned Orbital Laboratory. This was a United States Air Force military, what would I describe it as? Spy satellite crewed space station from the 60s. But then they did the KH-7 Corona and KH-8 Gambit and KH-9 Hexagon and Keyhole programs after that. And they basically were like, oh, we don't need people up there. We'll just use spy sats for that. We don't need people to aim the thingies. We could just do it ourselves. So that is where the Delta, or actually after that, it's going to be something else, which I'll show you in just a second. But then it kind of sat into disrepair, and then eventually it was picked up just before it was going to be mothballed by Boeing, which eventually moved it over to United Launch Alliance for the Delta IV rockets. And you can see it says Delta IV Heavy sitting on the pad. What it was most best known for was these West Coast launches of the Delta IV Heavy. It is gorgeous. I swear. If you ever get a chance, if anybody's ever like, you want to go to Slick Six, go to Slick Six. There is literally a train that runs through here called the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner. I've taken it a couple times. It goes right past the launch pad. You could see all of that. It's amazing. So it also goes past the SpaceX pad, and I've seen SpaceX boosters sitting out there on the pads as well. But the thing that makes me so excited is that SpaceX picking up Slick Six brings up the possibility of them possibly bringing Starship to the West Coast, because Starship Super Heavy, that's going to be able to lift a lot. So I bet there's a lot of people at the National Reconnaissance Office right now that are looking at it and going, So we'll have to see. It is not announced from SpaceX as to what will be flying from Space Launch Complex 6, or what we call Slick 6. But I'm so excited. Slick 6 is not going to get mothballed. Its history continues because, frankly, I feel like the biggest part of Slick 6's history was pulled away from it because of an unfortunate accident, Challenger accident. Slick 6 was going to become the West Coast launch site of the space shuttle. And that would have been absolutely spectacular, putting the space shuttle into polar orbits. Yes, you could do polar orbits from Florida, but you do take a significant hit in your payload capability, which you can overcome that, as Falcon 9 has shown. But that doesn't necessarily mean that customers like the National Reconnaissance Office are going to be happy to take that kind of a payload hit. Because I can tell you one thing about the National Reconnaissance Office, they're not. If you want that Hubble to look back at Earth, if you want the nice pretty telescope to look back at Earth, which has absolutely nothing to do with the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope.
No, they're pointed in completely different directions.
Yeah, it's not like they gave NASA 2 of them and said, "Go wild, just don't point it at the ground." I mean, they don't even do it on the ground in the clean room. they point it in the air. So yeah, I'm so excited about this. Also, SpaceX is just a beautiful launch site, right? I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is back in the 80s when they were building that out. By the way, that is, Dutta, if I recall correctly, that is Space Shuttle Enterprise right there.
That's correct.
For fit checks. And what else? Was that an actual external tank and actual solids?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Wow.
That's
absolutely.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, they had Morton Thiokol had prototype composite casings that were one piece because they were able to be transported from Utah to California.
Oh my!
For this launch.
Yes, and if I recall correctly, they needed those composite casings in order to lessen the weight to allow shuttle to go into polar orbits.
Yeah, more margin.
Yeah, so wow, what a place. And I'm so glad that we're finally, SpaceX is going to continue, baby. And who knows, we may see something that is, 2.5 times the height of the shuttle stack going for it. So that would be that would be impressive. I would actually go to that Starship launch. That would be amazing with that there. So
you don't go to that Starship launch. That Starship launch comes to you.
True. I would probably, honestly, for us here in LA, we would probably see it piece of cake.
Oh yeah.
We wouldn't even have to go. I bet if we went to the right beach, we could hear it. So
I've seen Delta 2 launches from as far inland as Roland Heights.
I was going to say,
you can see them clearly.
A couple weeks ago, I did watch a Starlink launch, like around midnight our time, and I watched the first stage and the second stage fire into each other and interact and make the jellyfish, and it was so good. I was on my front lawn watching it, so it was good stuff. So everybody, thank you all so much for watching this week's episode of Tomorrow. I'm going to be here next week. How about everybody else? We all going to be here next week?
Yeah.
If my camera gets me in, then yeah, I should be.
Well, you know what? I think we'll start a little bit early, and we'll fix that. So we are going to go into our members only stream. If you want to, youtube.com/TMRO/join. You can do it right now. 99 cents a month is all it takes, and you'll be in immediately. So we're going to go to members. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Tomorrow this week. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see how long this new system takes for us to go off air. I don't know.